and welcome to Friday's reading session with me, Miss Medlicott. In today's session, we're going to be reading and summarising key points in chapter 19 of The Explorer, which is called Tarantulas, and we're going to be inferring characters' thoughts and feelings. Please pause the video now if you need to go and retrieve your copy of the book. Right, so, as we can remember from last time, the chapter called The Trap, the explorer shows Fred how to set a trap to catch food. So he's trying to make the children a little bit more independent, a little bit more self-sufficient, so that when they continue on their journey and hopefully get to Manaus, they will be able to find food for themselves rather than relying on anybody else. I'd like you now to turn to pages 248 to 249. Pause the video now to do so. Okay, a snake, what we have here is we come across, or the children come across, a snake. So let's have a little look at this extract. So I'm reading from the beginning of the paragraph that says, and a snake. So pause the video to find that. Okay. And a snake reared up suddenly from behind a fallen branch. It stood up straight, like the periscope on a submarine. It was violent green, with a whitish belly. Its eyes were red. Fred gave a hiss and gestured to the others. They froze. "Don't panic," whispered Lila. "Snakes don't attack, remember?" Fred backed away. It came up over the trunk, its neck still a stalk heading towards him. It didn't seem to like him staring. Okay, now in the vocabulary box here I've put a periscope because the snake is described as sort of standing up straight, like a periscope on a submarine. So a periscope is, I've got an image here I'll show you with the cursor. This is a periscope that's used to come up out of the water for a submarine goes underneath the water surface, of course. The periscope comes up and it means that you can see above the water's surface. So it's a lookout. So it's describing the shape of this snake as it sort of goes upwards. And we'd say the snake rears up. It means it's going upwards. Okay, it's not just slithering along the ground, but it's actually going upright. So it's noticed the children, specifically it's noticed Fred. Okay, what I'd like you to do is to write a thought bubble for Fred at this particular moment. What is going through his mind? Think about what would be going through your mind if you came across a snake like this. But also look carefully at how Fred is reacting to seeing this snake. Is he going towards the snake? Is he moving away? Does he seem very comfortable with it or not? And how would you write that thought bubble? Pause the video now to complete the task. Okay, so Fred, he's giving a hiss and a gesture to the others to get them to stop. So it's a sign that he's not feeling comfortable, he's not feeling confident, and he wants to protect the others. He also, as we can see, he backs away. So if you back away from something, it's because you're unsure of it, and it's a way of kind of defending yourself, putting distance between you and the source of the threat, which in this case is the snake. So overall, I'd say that it's got to be a thought bubble that shows his uncertainty, that he's feeling quite frightened, he's feeling quite nervous. Okay, we're now going to move to page 249, which is on the next page. The children are sort of struck dumb almost by seeing this snake. The explorer, on the other hand, has other ideas. So I want you to now turn to the paragraph that says The Explorer. So find it, please. 249. The explorer walked straight past them, chewing on a stick with fierce intent. Without pausing in his stride, without seeming to take aim, he pulled a rock from his pocket and threw it at the snake. It cut through the air and struck the snake in the neck. The snake slumped to the ground. Okay, so just pause for a moment and think, what is happening in this particular paragraph? Very good, well done. Actually, the explorer, very casually, has just thrown a rock and he's managed to strike the snake dead. So, what I'd like you to do as your activity, you're going to find a synonym of purpose. So a synonym, we remember that a synonym is a word that means something similar, but is not the same word. So we're looking for a word like that means purpose. It means the same thing, that you've got a purpose, that you've got an aim, but it doesn't mean the same thing. Sorry, it's not spelt the same way. It's not the same word, but it means the same thing. And then I'd like you to find a word which is an antonym of rose up. So an antonym means a word that is opposite in meaning. Synonym is the same in meaning. Antonym is opposite of meaning of rose up. So if you rise up, clue, rise up, we're looking for an opposite meaning. Pause the video now to complete that task. Good, and here are your answers. So a synonym of walking, for purpose, is intent. That he's walking, the explorer is walking with a great purpose, with fierce intent. He's got a particular aim or goal in mind. And then an antonym of rose up is to slump. Yes, to go to the ground. So the snake has been hit and has slumped to the ground. Very good if you got those correct. Okay, now the chapter that we're reading is of course called Tarantula. So what I'd like you to do is turn to page 257 in your book. The explorer is showing the children how to catch food, and you've probably now worked out what the food is. It is, of course, a tarantula. And here is a picture of a tarantula just to refresh your memory if you'd forgotten. It's a very large, rather hairy spider. So not your typical kind of meal. We're going to look at page 257 now, and I'd like you please to find at the top of the page, he laid his finger. So pause the video to find the extract. Good, and I will start reading now. He laid his finger on the tarantula. It was unexpectedly soft and quivered under his touch. Now, said the explorer, pulling a knife from his pocket, suddenly very brisk, you slice along the back from the neck, here so that it feels no pain, like this, but don't cut the head off. He cut across the spider's neck. And then you wrap it in leaves. He dropped the spider onto a large leaf and handed it to Lila, who shuddered but held it in both hands. So if you shudder, you're kind of doing that ooh feeling, and you get that when you get a slight chill, you kind of shudder a bit, but also if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling frightened, or yes, a little bit uncomfortable, I suppose you would shudder. Right, so as I said, not your typical kind of meal. The explorer is showing the children, who, let's not forget, have not had a proper meal for a long time, for quite a few days now, and they are stuck in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. So bearing those facts in mind, I want you to imagine that you're in the children's situation, stranded in the Amazon rainforest. Would you eat a tarantula? Explain why or why not. So I'm wanting you to give your opinion here, but I'd like you to support your opinion with some good reasons. So it's no good just saying no or yes. You need to be backing up what you are saying. So bearing in mind that you're putting yourself in the children's position, stuck in the Amazon rainforest with very little options, very few options, and the explorer, who knows much of the rainforest, is showing you how to find food, and he's showing you how to kill and eat a tarantula. Would you or would you not? Pause the video and write down your ideas. Okay, so I'm sure we've got some different opinions here. I'll say for me personally, if I were in the children's situation, I think I would say that I would, because I think at this stage, after many days being stuck in the Amazon, I would have to accept that if that's food, then that's food, and you don't really have very much choice. However, I don't like tarantulas. I really don't like spiders. And so part of me would be thinking, oh no, I don't want to eat it. And like Lila, I'd be shuddering and feeling quite ill at the thought of it. But really, when you're in a desperate situation like the children are, I think you'd have to think of your survival, what's going to keep you alive. And food, of course, is something we need to keep us alive. And if tarantula is the only food, or one of the only foods on offer, I suppose you'd have to take it. What do you think? Okay, and we'll carry on. Page 259. The children now have a go at capturing their own tarantula. And let's see this moment that the Goliath tarantula comes out. Now, I've included a picture of a Goliath tarantula. This is on an adult's hand to give you to give you an idea of the size of this tarantula. It's a Goliath. It's a huge one, right? As you can see, it is enormous. Let's see from this extract. So we're looking at page 259. So you need to turn over the page, and we're looking at the paragraph that begins, they didn't need to tempt out the Goliath tarantula. So pause the video now to find your place. Good. Okay, we'll start reading. They didn't need to tempt out the Goliath tarantula. As Fred leant forward to peer into the hole, the front legs emerged. He stepped backwards, fast. 4 legs more followed, and a great round body covered in thick hair. Con retched. Max squealed with delight. Lila stepped in front of her brother, pushing him behind her. She clutched Backer more tightly. The spider was as big as Max's face. It moved slowly towards Max's ankles. Ooh, blimey. So we're getting a sense here of the size of the tarantula, and when you compare it to Max, we're told that the spider is as big as Max's face. Can you imagine it? What I'd like you to do as your task is to draw and label a diagram, so a picture of the Goliath tarantula emerging, moving out, and I'd like you to also draw and label the reactions of each of the children. So we're given details of how each child responds to this particular event of this Goliath tarantula coming out. And I'd like you please to draw a picture and label it. So when you're labelling, you need to be writing about what the child is doing, or what the characters are doing, and how they might be feeling, okay? What might be going through their minds. Try to make it as detailed as possible so that you're getting the description on the page. You're really thinking about what that actually means, how you would actually picture it. Pause the video to do your task. Fantastic work, Year 5. Very, very well done. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. Well, in tomorrow's lesson, next lesson, we are going to be doing chapter 20, which is called Twice Fried Oiseau Spectacle. So this is going to be a really interesting lesson. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye!